Yay. We're back. This is fun.
Welcome back, guys.
Jim, do you have this problem? I get so dehydrated that I think my skin just I think I go like 4 or 5 days without drinking water once, and then my skin just starts cracking and peeling.
You would think that the amount of water that's in beer, you would think that you would get an appropriate amount of water intake, wouldn't you? It doesn't work that way. Oh,
I don't know.
It was just beer and kebabs.
I mixed it up a little bit. I threw some gin in there.
You went gin and tonic. That's just because you're a bit of a pussy, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're a bit of a gone.
And we're back.
Jim, I'm a little extra sensitive to you right now. I spent an entire week with you. I don't know how much. I just
yeah, I'm surprised you decided to do. I'm surprised you decided to do this so quickly.
Yeah, well, you win some, you lose some, don't you?
Let me share this.
Yeah, we should share this, huh?
Yeah.
All of the 3 people that are going to end up tuning into watching this, why don't you guys share it too?
Yeah, Lil Chris, Ryan Harmison.
Yeah.
I gotta fix my browser.
So, Shawn, did you watch it?
I did. Hold on a sec. I gotta fix my settings real quick.
Man, you're very bossy to us. You're just telling us what to do all the time, aren't you?
You're the new guy here. We should be telling you what to do.
I messed up my knuckle a little bit, Jim, from punching that bag. It's sore.
It looked like you guys had a lot of fun.
We always have fun.
We do always have fun. I'll tell you what, that 4th day was that was a good time. I had fun with that day.
Yeah. We had Jacko there to entertain us.
Yeah, we had Jacko there to entertain us to storming bull into a punching bag machine thinger.
Buffalo!
Did you have fun with it, Jimbo?
I always have fun at Mosconi.
What was your favorite?
It's just getting a little bit less and less every time.
It is. Yeah. It is just a little bit less. Yeah. It went. I think that's a pretty accurate description. What was your favorite part about it?
My favorite part of Mosconi Cup this year.
Yep.
Whew. Yeah. Having dinner with the old Mosconi Cup crew on the 2nd day. Having dinner before we went to the Ali Pali. That was my favorite part of my Mosconi Cup trip this year.
Is that why I wasn't invited? Because you wanted the old people?
Yeah, because you're not one of the old guard, not one of the OGs.
What? I mean, I was pretty close to an OG. I mean, 2018 isn't exactly like Yeah,
but you're still an American fan.
Well, yeah, but Graham was walking around with a cowboy hat.
We were all supporting America at one stage. We were all rooting for America to start making some 9 balls, so that
I'm telling you what. If I drunkenly just stumbled out of the stands and went down and shot every 9 ball for the U.S., I think we'd have done better.
Yeah. So at what point were you just feeling?
Or we'd have laughed at you even more. Yeah.
You guys were talking at the same time. What did you say, Shawn?
I said, at what point were you just feeling sorry for USA and like, let's just try to make this kind of interesting?
I don't think I ever started to feel sorry for them. I don't think I think when you're out, it's you can hope that they start to play a bit better, but they're out there. They chose to be out there. They wanted to be out there. They did everything they could this year to be out there.
Look, ultimately,
I don't feel sorry for anybody who's out there.
They're making $5,000 a day. Worst case scenario, they're doing all right.
You want to be there. You're playing in an arena that every pool player would love to play in, regardless of whether they can or can't, or if their bum would fall out playing any shot. Every player would love to play out there. So no, I don't feel sorry for anybody that plays out there.
So I saw, like, obviously, like, a big topic of the discussion is like, what should they be doing differently? And everybody's kind of got their input on what it should look like. I guess you guys being there might have kind of the first form of feedback. Like, do you think, to start with, like, are there going to be changes at all? Like, I feel like that's the first kind of conversation piece that has to be addressed. Like, are they going to change anything for the feedback to even be warranted?
Well, I mean, going into Mark's comment, I would almost venture to guess Johan will be back next year. Just my hunch.
Well, talks have opened. The door is open.
Yep.
I've spoken briefly to Johan. I know that the door is open, and it's just whether or not they can make it happen. What I don't want to see is too much of a desperate reaction like I felt happened with the Reyes Cup. I wouldn't like to see them going straight to let's open it up to North America or the Americas or whatever. I think
the rest of the world.
Yeah, Johan managed to turn the tide. He's done it before. He did it for 3 years. He won 2 of those years. It took him 1 year to get his ideas across to the players. I think that's enough for the moment. It's proved to work in the past. I would like to see Johan in there again. But let's not overreact and start. I don't like the idea of it being North America. You know, it's the Stars and Stripes against the European flag.
The moment it becomes North America is the moment the event dies.
It becomes it changes to something different that it was never designed to be, and I think once you take that step, you can't go back again. And I think the American fans, they bring something to the event, especially at the home. Do they then lose interest because it's not America anymore, or do large portions of them say, well, I'm there to support America? If we open up to the Americas and there's only one American in the team, are you? Yeah, I think that would be a step too far. Give Johan the chance. It's on home soil next year. The American fans have already said that they're going to make it crazy atmosphere in there. One step at a time.
They cannot open it up to North America. That takes away our only chant, and then we're just screwed.
Yeah.
What are we gonna scream if we can't scream USA?
Exactly. You've got no songs left.
We can't say America anymore.
Yeah.
America.
I think the event is USA against Europe, and it should stay like that until all other avenues have been explored.
But I guess the original question, though, if I'm going to answer it too, you kind of asked the question as if there's like something that is going to change, and the only option for us to actually change and be competitive is probably bringing in Johan. It's not like losing this event is going to make Sky want to practice more or travel more. It's not going to make Bergman or Mike DeShane or some other player come in. And even if they did, we're remembering Justin Bergman and Mike DeShane from 2015 to 2018. They're not that player anymore. Don't tell me that they are. You can't be playing on 7-foot bar tables at ultimate pool events and think that that's going to translate to playing world quality pool. It just don't come at me with that. It's not going to make Shane get hungrier again. Tyler's continuing to improve every year, but he's getting worse. The better Tyler gets in his singles game, the worse he gets in Mosconi Cup, seemingly. I mean, when he was at his absolute worst, he played his absolute best, 2018, 2019. So, I mean, can Tyler start playing better? Yeah, sure. Is Billy going to continue to play like he has in the last year? Yeah, maybe. You still line it up on paper, and we still have the 9th and the 10th worst player between two teams. Pretty much no matter whoever qualifies on Team Europe. I think that the U.S. just has to go into the event with Johan, hopefully with Johan, a little bit more disciplined, and just hope to win 8 out of 10 coin flips. Currently, the last few years we've lost 8 out of 10 coin flips and played bad to begin with. Ultimately, you're going to have to win a couple of those coin flips. You're going to have to not miss a 9-ball. You're going to have to get a good rub off of a ball in a crucial situation. We're giving up a lot of talent on the table, and we have to have those extra little rubs go our way.
I think what they have to do, if they want Johan to be effective straight away, because he wasn't last time. They got heavily beat the first year that he coached USA. They have to announce it as soon as they possibly can, or they have to certainly
at least tell the players.
Certainly have him on board and have the deal done, whether or not it's public or not. Have the deal done as soon as possible, and give Johan the opportunity and let the US players know this is the guy And he can already start. You Skylar, Shane, and Fedor. They're going to be on the team regardless, so he can already start working with those guys. I mean, he's worked so many times with Fedor already. I mean, it's going to be a boost to Fedor. Fedor still hasn't figured out Mosconi Cup. I mean, you can say that Billy and Tyler are player 9 and 10 out of those players. But for me, if you look at expectation and reality, what we saw the last 4 days, the biggest underachiever is Fedor.
Yep.
He hasn't got what you would expect him to play, and what he actually played is a bigger gap than anybody else on the USA team.
Sure.
And there's got to be a reason for that. I've said it before. It took Jason a couple of years, 2 or 3 years before he figured out the Mosconi Cup. So it's taking Fedor some time. And Johan will be a massive help for him. Massive respect there between the two of them. And Fedor will react well to Johan. Tyler will also. You would expect then Tyler gets in the team because Tyler and Johan have worked together. It'll help Tyler that Johan's there. And it'll be a boost. It'll be a boost to them. It'll be a boost to Team USA, and it'll also put doubts into Team Europe's head. If they get him announced early enough, and they see that he's actively working with players at an early stage, like in a March or whatever, they say, well, great, their preparation's already begun, and it's Johan. It's going to start putting doubts and a bit more pressure into the European heads as well. And it'll definitely make a difference, whether it's makes a difference enough for them to win on the first year. But I expect them to be competitive. And Matchroom has to then give him at least a 3-year deal and say, you've got 3 years to turn this around.
I think the most important part with announcing early on, too, is players like Sam Henderson, Landon Hollinsworth, the next generation. It allows those players to start working with Johan, too. Tyler came out of nowhere in 2018, had no business being on the team. The reason he was on the team was because he was working with Johan for that long, right? I think the most important part of getting a player, or somebody like him announced, is allowing that next crop of players. Because I think ultimately, we would all. I think Johan could win with this team. If Johan was the captain, he could win with the same exact team.
Yes, he could, but this team could also have won. It's not that this a bit. What will happen? What will happen as soon as he gets announced? There's going to be a group of US players who are on the cusp of making the team that are going to immediately contact Joe and say, "I want to work with you for the next months."
Bingo.
Basically putting their name in the hat for I'm going to try. But the answer they're going to get from Johan is, "You best play the events."
Yes.
That's it. Play the events. Be there.
And that's my point. The sooner it's announced, the sooner those players can start doing those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my things is.
Sorry.
One of my things is I feel like the qualifying events don't really correlate with the format of what the Mosconi is. So the Mosconi is just a really fun event for these guys to show up at, make some money, and represent their country. I don't think that playing in the Mosconi is a fair reflection of how good they are from what got them to qualify for that event.
Correct. You're not playing any event that's anything like the Mosconi in order to prove that you're the best player for that.
I disagree with that. I think you now look at what the U.S. Open is when you have the finals, and you have 1,500 screaming fans around you. Yes, they're not heckling you in between shots; they're there to watch. But it's not like it's a drastic ways off of what you're going to experience inside of that arena. Now, if you want to talk about going down to your local Texas Open or something like that, of course it's going to be nothing similar. But if you're playing a full match room, now you can make the argument that the U.S. players never make it that deep, so it doesn't really matter. But you get those finals arenas, those matchroom events, they're at least set up to be very similar to what the Mosconi Cup is.
Sure, but I'd like to see maybe a doubles sort of qualifying type of event that would get, we could see what that would look like in that format in the Mosconi, beforehand, so they could get an idea of what that chemistry looks like under the pressure.
Well, see, that's something that they used to have. They had the World Cup of Pool. Okay, it didn't qualify you for Mosconi Cup, but then you got to see how Shane and Skylar played together. You got to see how Jason played together with other Brits and stuff like that, and you got to see in that, is somebody a good doubles player. But at the end, I mean, Mosconi is different from everything else, and that's why, if you look at wild cards that have been chosen over the years, the great majority of the wild cards go to players who have not necessarily been the best that year and are highest up the ranking, but captains generally pick people who have said, in that arena, you've done it before, you've performed well in that arena before, and that's the only place that's really like that arena. So they get the nod again. That's why you see the same guys coming back and back again, because you'd be silly to pick somebody that you're not really sure of, or you don't know how they're going to play, you know?
I think it's ironic at this point that the person that gets, well, I guess I can't say that because Tyler got quite a bit of hate. But going into the event, Billy got more hate than anybody else, and I think he has the highest winning percentage of all the 5 players. No, it's
probably
under
the best shots too overall. Like I'd say he probably had the most highlight, like good positive shots as well, like clutch shots, like that kick, that bank kick shot that he made was ridiculous, or the jump kick shot that he made was ridiculous. And then for Federer just to miss the 2-ball after that was insane.
Well, but I mean, that doubles match, they ended up winning it, but it was Billy that carried Federer through it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But then Billy's playing his own. Billy's playing one of the most incredible racks I've ever seen at Mosconi Cup, where he's kicked at the 2, fluked it, but he's got hooked on the 3. So he's kicked at the 3, fluked that, left himself half hooked on the 4, played a typical Billy the banker, long bank on the 4, and then you think, well, he's got to be out now, and then he missed the 9. You know, and these are the moments, these are the racks that can.
Oh, that was day one, right? That was day one of the team event.
It was in the team event, but these are the racks that can cause your opponent pain. If they're sitting there saying, I can't believe you got out of that rack. How the hell has he got out of that rack? But when you miss the 9 and you hang it up, it's like, hey, he's dogged it. And then so it's gone from 4-1. Yeah, and those moments were happening continually. You know, the 9 balls that Tyler missed, and you know, the 9 that Sky missed. Those moments were happening continually. Just when you thought, here's your chance to get a little bit of momentum, here's your chance to grab a point. You know, they just didn't happen, and it can be for whatever reason. People can say they dogged it, or maybe that's just the level you play at, and the level you play at means you're going to miss some balls now and again. You know, and Europe don't miss those balls because they're better players that play at a higher level.
You shouldn't be holding Tyler and Billy to Josh's standard, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't expect Tyler and Billy to go out there and play like a Josh Phillip. Well, you can't expect anyone to go out and play like a Josh Phillip. Because, I mean, the guy's just he's a maniac. But you can't expect him to go out and play. You can't expect him. They're 760, 770 Fargos. You can't expect them to go into that matchroom table and play like 800 Fargos. It's unrealistic. They're going to play a few points below their Fargo, which is what they did. They played 730, 740 Fargo that you would watch at your local club. But they're not playing at the local club. They're playing on this matchroom table. They're playing with all these fans. They're playing with the expectation. They're playing in a team match instead of individually. It all adds up to mistakes when you play at that level. And that's simple as it. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by Federer. Federer is an 800, an 830 Fargo. He shouldn't be playing like 760.
Yeah.
Well, if he's going to drop, if he's going to drop, he should be still in 800s. You know, and that's where he'll get it eventually. Federer's too good not to get it. He will get it eventually, but he hasn't figured it out yet. He hasn't figured this whole Mosconi thing out yet.
We've been saying that about Shane, and he's at 19 years. When is he going to figure it out? Although, to be fair,
and then the 1 year Shane shows up, and the rest of them all play bad. This is the best I've seen Shane play in a Mosconi Cup since 2019, and then the rest didn't show up.
So
2019 we won.
One thing that I saw, Sharavari, am I saying that right? Yeah.
Sharavari.
Yeah, something he posted I thought was really interesting, where he talked about how kind of just the standard of how Europeans practice and just play is just conditioned at a higher level than what Americans are played at. Like, you know, Billy Thorpe, Sky, they play on bar boxes pretty frequently, whereas you can't find a bar box in Germany at all. So, like, you know, someone like Sharavari, he comes to the U.S. and, you know, a bar box is just a cakewalk for him, whereas it still might be a challenge for somebody like Billy, even though that's kind of his stomping ground. What do you guys think about that?
I was just wrong.
So you don't think that
no.
you don't think that if we only had not 9-foot tables, you don't think that
I'm not saying it
the
wouldn't.
US would have had a better chance?
I'm not saying it wouldn't help. I'm saying that, like, and Mike Page has convinced me on this point. You can go across Fargo ratings against all of the Americans on bar tables and all of the Europeans on bar tables, and it's nearly indistinguishable. There's very, 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 very little difference between jumping back and forth. And that's just pure mathematics. I mean, if Joshua Filler's Fargo rate is 850 on a bar table, it's 850 on a big table. That's essentially what he found. Like, it's a convenient, like, narrative, and it makes sense in theory, but it just doesn't hold up mathematically. With that being said, if you're exclusively playing on bar tables, I'm talking about people that can go back and forth all the time. Like,
sure.
But what I will say is, if you're used to playing on 5-inch pockets, you're going to get in trouble on that table.
That is absolutely the case. Yes, I do believe, and I haven't seen any data on that.
I think that's a little bit the problem for Billy. Billy he's a swinger. I mean, he plays some amazing shots. Don't leave him a bank. He's going to nail it. And, we saw that. We saw the amazing shots. We saw the massively entertaining. But if you don't have that cue ball under control, you're going to leave yourself eventually a shot that is, under those circumstances, it's more than you want to be taken on. You're gonna
go from a 90% shot, and you're gonna get a little funnier. You're gonna be at an 80% shot. You're gonna get a little funnier.
Those pockets can start to look very, very, very small when you're under the gun. So you need to be leaving yourself. You need to be leaving your cue ball in a way that is making it comfortable for you, and not just Billy. I think all of the USA players at some stage, myself and Nate, were talking about it while we're there. They just didn't look as if it was going to be a comfortable rack for them to shoot. The European players, when they got to the table and it was an open table, you kind of felt like they were going to get out. The US players, you were just waiting for them just to lose the cue ball just slightly. That meant they had to play a proper shot, and then they're under the gun, and then mistakes can happen. And we saw that frequently on the US side. And it's the way Billy plays the game. It's the way he's always played the game. But on those tables, it makes it very challenging. You're going to leave yourself the occasional dodgy shot. He got stung a couple of times with a bit of bad luck. He got a massive kick on a 3-ball that was kind of hanging over the pocket. Massive skid he got. But yeah, it's just you've just got to tighten up your game. You've almost got to be, for somebody like Billy, you've almost got to be a little bit more boring, kind of thing, and just play it simple. But highly entertaining, and I think he's got some. He's not just Billy. There's been a few of them. They got stick on Facebook that they shouldn't be getting, or on social media. Billy's a great player. I mean, come on, you're out there on that table. Don't start posting on Facebook. Oh, I got amateurs in the club that would have shot that rack out. No, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't. No. You'd wouldn't have got 2 balls in, kind of thing, playing on that table.
Well, the same people that are
Billy's
saying I would have.
Billy's just not. He's just not sharp enough to consistently play well on those
4-inch pockets.
Tables. Yeah. And the slidey rails and everything that goes with it. It's just
the same people that said that they would have made the 9-ball that Billy missed it's probably true, because I think just about anybody would have made that. What they're not telling you is they would have missed 17 times leading up to that ball.
Exactly.
They would have never gotten to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Billy's amazing to watch. I love watching him, but like I said, your level is your level.
I would have picked Billy. I would have picked Billy. The biggest stupid thing that I hear is like, oh, Lucas would have made the difference. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Lucas is a very nice player, and I think he's going to make several Mosconi Cup teams, assuming he continues to play. But it's not like he's like this player that's going to come in. He's still, if you stack up all 10 players, he's still the worst player out there. Don't give me that he's untapped and he's loads of potential. All of that can be true, and you can still be the worst player out there.
Listen, there was people on Facebook just waiting for Billy to miss 1 ball, and then they were just all on saying Lucas would have made that, Oscar would have made that, Sky's made the wrong pick, he's picked his mate, blah 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 blah.
All of that can be true.
All you can ask for from anybody in any team sport, whether you're a fan or whether you're a member of the team, is that everybody gives 100% and tries their best. The one thing I saw from this USA team, even though they got pumped 11-3, the one thing I saw from each and every one of them was they stayed invested. They stayed invested from start to finish, and they tried their best. And if that's not good enough for you, then you're not a sports fan. You're just don't watch anymore, because that's all you can ask for anyone. They did the best they can. I got to give a shout out to Tyler, because I have never seen balls like that in my life. The way he kept coming back for his next match with his head held high, with the same attitude, keep going again. I'll get this point. I'll get this point. I'll try again. I'll try again. I don't care what's happened. I'm going to go into it again with the same attitude. When 99% of players out there, they would have folded and their head would have been down. They would have been an absolute mess, and they would have been worthless to the team for the rest of the match.
How many times have you seen Shane do that? How many years have you seen Shane do that? How many
years have you seen Shane do that? And he's your top guy. He's your all-time great. Yeah. Tyler came back every single time, and was giving his best. I got to give him props for that. I thought, mentality-wise, attitude-wise, that's one of the most impressive things I've seen at a Mosconi Cup. And I've been doing it for a long time.
Is what it is. Yeah. I mean, but going back to the Lucas thing, just to put all this in a bow, everything that the people are saying, like Lucas wouldn't have missed that and all this, he would have gotten out there. All of that can be true, and he's still not going to be this white hope that saves Team USA. Don't come to me and say that he turns 11-3 loss into an 11-9 win.
But to a point that you kind of addressed or touched base on earlier, do you think that someone like Lucas might take it less for granted and work harder leading up to prepare for that event than someone like,
Is he going to stop being like, how hard would he have to prepare to not be the worst player out there? It sounds like I'm taking a shot at Lucas, but I'm really not. Like I said, if he would have been picked, I would have been super happy having him. But that doesn't change the fact that he's not at the level of the other, at least 5 players on Euro.
And your preparation as a team is dictated by the captain. And if the captain decides we'll get together 1 week before, you get together 1 week before. Johan will not do 1 week before. I can guarantee you that. If you want to be on that team, you're available from mid-November at least. You're going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a camp. He'll probably take you away somewhere to play another team somewhere. You will be working up to that. The last 4 days will be just the end of your Mosconi Cup. There'll be a lot more before that. But I mean, eventually they're going to have to start bringing more players through. They can't keep going in there with the same 6 players and just swapping one out every single time, So they're going to have to start. Eventually, they're going to have to give somebody the opportunity to get in there, so that they've got a bigger pool of players to actually choose from that have the experience of playing there, and that a potential captain knows how they're going to play when they get there. That's a problem with bringing in a rookie. You don't know how they're going to play. So rookies generally, I mean, I know Johan brought Tyler in as a rookie and gave him the wild card, but rookies generally get in via qualifying, and then it's like, oh, I wonder how he's going to play. We got a good deal this year as Team Europe. Our 2 rookies both performed really, really well. And I will say, I heard from Jason today that they were both sick as dogs the entire time, and they were medication the whole time, pills and cough syrups, and so they were not feeling well while they were playing there, and they hadn't been for like the week leading up to it. So even better performance when you're not feeling that way.
Well, it's I mean, respectfully, Jim, it's very easy to look like that when you have zero pressure put on you.
Exactly. Moritz wins the MVP thanks to Tyler missing that 9 ball. Tyler makes that 9 ball. Moritz is an MVP. People just say a decent performance, whereas now it's seen as a great performance because he was basically given that free point by Tyler. But
everyone's got a plan.
The USA plan going into this seemed to be the rookies might dog it. If the rookies dog it, we've got a chance. Well, they didn't dog it. They might not have played lights out, but they certainly didn't dog it. They played their part. They got their points. They were steady. They mopped up the mistakes from the USA. That's all you can ask for on your first goal, really. Unless you're filler and you just go and kill everybody on your first goal. But yeah,
everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And to your statement there, Jim, it seems like the US was waiting for Europe to punch themselves in the face.
Exactly, and the USA played terrible in the first day, and they made it easy for them.
Yeah,
they needed to stay in the match as long as possible, and they got battered on the first day. And it wasn't just a 4-0 scoreline with a couple of 5-3s and 5-4s. It was all 5-1s and 5-2s. So they
there
got
was 153. It was an average of 5.2. Yeah,
but they got properly battered on the first day, and there was a difference in level. There was a difference in class, and it showed on the first day. Day 2, 3, okay, America got themselves in the positions to win some points, but they didn't finish it off. And that's what you got to do if you've got your opportunity to create momentum or to stop the momentum of the other team. You have to grab those opportunities. If you don't, snowballs.
And the tone was set on day one. Day one, match one, when Billy has that 9-ball to go up 4-1 in the first set and misses it. Yep. And from there, they lose. Instead of being up 4-1, they're at knotted 2-2, and they don't score another point or they don't get another win until the next match, maybe third game, fourth game.
Yeah. Yep.
Huge. I mean, it is what it is. Going to the larger sense, this was my 18-19. My 7th Mosconi Cup, I think. Jim, this was your 14th or something like that. This one seemed different. This one seems like we're getting further away from success.
USA is getting further away from success.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll just jump into mine. This is my biggest rant on the Mosconi Cup, and I'm still going next year. I'm not worried about that. I'm giving my critiques in a sense of I'm going regardless. With that being said, I think the biggest reason why the event and just come out and say it. Day 3, they said that they sold out. I never saw a sold out arena in there. With that being said, it's very, very, very easy for people to, every single time that there's a commercial break, you're going to have anywhere from 50 to 500 people going to the bathroom. You look up at any given time, and there's a lot of people that you're not, generally speaking, going to make it to the restroom and then back into the arena by the time that commercial break is up. So at any given time, it's very, very realistic to have 100 to 500 people out of their seats using the restroom. Day 3, I'm going to take their word for it that it was sold out, and I'm going to say that was the reason. When you look around the arena, there was open seats, but there wasn't a lot of them. I'm going to say that Day 3 was sold out. Day 1 was half full. I don't think that it was much more than half full. Day 2 was probably 75% full. And then day 4 was probably about 75% full. Do you agree with that, Jim?
Well,
give or take.
Day one looked terrible. Day 2 and day 4 were a little better, but still disappointing. And I don't agree with day 3. It was not full. If it was sold out, then there's people who decided not to come, maybe because of how day 1 and 2 went. But it wasn't. No, there was certain seats that were always empty. Certain groups of seats were always empty. So yeah. I go along with that. Yeah.
Okay. So here's my big rant. And I know that Matchroom is a production company. They are a marketing company. They are not in the business of selling tickets. They are outsourcing that to, my understanding is they are outsourcing that to third parties. The moment that they took away group tickets made this event, to me, 20% of what it was. I mean, it ruined the ability for people like me and you, Jim, to be able to bring groups of 15, 20, 30 people. The most I ever brought to the Mosconi Cup, I bought 40 tickets. I bought 25 twice, and I bought 15 once. Jim, how many tickets did you and I have together this year?
4.
4. And they were empty. It was just you and me. Mm-hmm. The idea that you and I would be going to the Mosconi Cup by ourselves in 2019 or 2018 would be blasphemous. You would never think it. Your group used to be what, 10, 15, 20 strong every year?
20, yeah. We got up to about 20, and then people started falling off because they started to the atmosphere in the arena started to change, and they didn't feel like it was the same anymore, and they didn't feel comfortable sitting in the arena, so they stopped going.
It definitely got a little bit more hostile. but you can't. So the Florida was my last straw with group stuff. I mean, I had a group of 100 people. I was going to buy 100 tickets to bring to this with the Queue It Up, and we ended up getting. I ended up getting like 6 tickets on one day, 4 on another day. I went up to the silver for a day just to get tickets, and then I think you and I were able to get VIP on one day. And I think we struggled our butts off to get the one. It was a day 4 last year that you and I like we grinded hard to try.
No, day one didn't have any.
Day 1, whatever it was. The idea that you can no longer go to an event and get group tickets and be able to sit in the same seats with your friends has killed this event as far as filling it every year. I firmly believe that. I believe that if you were able to still get 20 tickets together without having to jump through hoops and try to get like you to get these tickets, that killed this event for a lot of the bigger groups that used to go.
And the fact that you can't get season passes anymore.
Correct.
But
if you're going to travel to that event, you want to know that you've got a ticket for every day. If you can only get online and you can only find a ticket for one day for 2 of the 4 days, you're not going to go. Why would you? You know.
But just to be devil's advocate here, if you open up group sales, you also open the door to scalping.
Oh, they're scalping it.
They're scalping no matter what.
Scalping anyway. Jesus, you should have seen it last year. You should have seen it last year for Orlando. Within an hour of it being sold out, there was people asking for 5 times the face value on Facebook. They were sitting, and you can still buy 6 tickets at a time. You can buy a group of 6 there was groups of them. They'd made their own Facebook groups or their own WhatsApp groups, and they're all on there at the same time, just buying tickets as many as they can, and then sticking them all on Facebook. There's scalping happening all over the place.
But
it'll happen again for Orlando.
In theory, Nate could buy all the tickets all at once and just resell them all. Like if
you can buy 6. You can buy 6.
But that's my point, Jim, is like the ability to only buy 6 now has ruined this event. Yeah. And I totally get why, like the idea you're trying to protect it. You're screwing over people like me and people like Jim and the people who have been going year after year after year with groups and groups and groups of people, because there's also people that are jumping in kind of doing the same thing that we're doing, but they're trying to scalp the ticket. Sure. What I'm saying is your matchroom, figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, you're going to lose groups. And if you're okay losing groups, that's fine. If you don't necessarily care with that's not a big deal, right? If you're still filling out your events and you don't have to care about people like me and Jim who are trying to get 20 of our friends there, why do you care? It doesn't matter, right? You're still selling the tickets. But if you walk into an event on days 1, 2, and 4, and you can visibly look up into the crowd and you can see that it's 25% empty, if not more, you have to start looking at some of the reasons as to why. Now you can go off and say the easy low-hanging fruit is the US sucks and we can't compete, and why the hell would you want to go watch a bloodbath? I don't think that's true. You cannot convince me that is true. I think the reason why it is the case is because when I first went there, I could look out into the crowd and there were matching shirts and entire segments of the population of the crowd. You would see an entire 2 rows all wearing yellow shirts of their local pub. The one time that I went there, we had a different shirt every single day when we were in Vegas. We had 25 people in our group, and every single day we had a different shirt that we wore as a group in the crowd, to where when you looked at the crowd, you knew that was our group. And we got all of those tickets together. I don't think it's because we're getting drubbed every single year and it's not a competitive atmosphere. Yes, that is also the case, but you cannot tell me that is the reason why, when I have not seen a group of more than 4 people in that entire damn crowd, besides the families, since they took away the ability to get group tickets.
And I remember a time when there used to be a large group from Germany that came over. There used to be a group from Holland that came over. There used to be a group from Spain that came over, and you'd see them in the crowd, and it was like, they'd have their own player.
Very obvious.
Yeah, they'd have their own player in there, so they'd be supporting.
Zero.
Don't see that anymore.
Zero.
You know what groups you see now in the crowd? Assholes, drunken assholes who are just trying to cause trouble. They're causing trouble. They're shouting abuse at everybody. They're trying to fight with each other. And they're not interested in the pool. That's the groups that we now have in that crowd, in the Ali Pali crowd. In the
Yeah,
Ali Pali
although
crowd,
this year,
that is the group we have. And that's one of the reasons why there was empty seats. I'm sure of it, because 2 years ago, it was the same, and it was disgusting. Absolutely
this year, I
disgusting
don't.
the behavior
This
of
year
people.
wasn't as bad as 2 years ago, though.
2 years
was
was no, 2 years ago was worse, which
way
is
worse.
why
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
now empty seats here. That's why there's now empty seats this
It
year.
could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Would if that was your first time at a Mosconi Cup 2 years ago, would you go back? If that had been your very first Mosconi Cup, would you ever go back again?
Man, I'd struggle to. I mean,
you
we
know,
just had that. We just had that one day with that people that were sitting right behind us, and they kept on purposefully spilling their drinks on us to try to get us to react.
to try and get us to react, to try and get us to get in a fight with them.
Yeah.
We had in Ali Pali just there a player's wife crying with her kids sitting beside her, crying because of the abuse she was getting from European fans that were sitting just behind.
Yep.
And then when I told them, I just happened to be going over there when it was happening, and I told them to pipe down. This is uncalled for. And then they started threatening me and wanted to fight with me. Then security come over, and I'm thinking, right, that's you. You're out. No, they just sit down, and then 10 minutes later they start again. This is unacceptable, and people will not go back. I was speaking to a lady that I met on the final day when I was sitting in the bar having a beer before going in there, and she'd recognized me, I think, or we had a mutual friend, and she was saying that she's never heard in her whole life in a 4-day period the C word shouted so much over her shoulder at players and at other fans, at her, and it's like, how can I would, we want to create something that's going to bring new fans in, that's going to, we want the youth, we want something that's going to attract the youth into our game. Tell you what, I wouldn't take any of my kids to a Mosconi Cup in that kind of atmosphere. I wouldn't subject them to some of the stuff that's being shouted and screamed. We had it on the last day up to our left, high up on our left, a group of guys. They weren't even watching the pool. They're just screaming and shouting and throwing beer at each other and just being complete dicks. And it's like, and the Marcel, the referee, spotted them at one stage, and you could see he was looking straight at them. Nothing happened. Nothing was said. They didn't come out once to turn around and say, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it. Be as loud and boisterous, but please keep it civilized and please stop all the nonsense. But nah, it just continued. It was just idiotic, some of the things that were being shouted, and the hostile feel. It just feels uncomfortable, And it never used to be like that. It used to just be one big family and one big group, and we used to go out and have fun afterwards. And now it's a case of you thinking, if I'm an American fan and I'm over there, I'm not going to go out now that we're finished, go to a pool hall that's going to be full of all these idiots. I'm just going to get abused even more. Whereas before, it was the European fans and the American fans all together. I mean, an American fan who's gone over there for the first time is not going to come back again.
It's going to be tough action. Yeah, and maybe it's because when you had the big groups like ours, there weren't tickets. The people that tend to be just straight morons and assholes, like you're describing, they tend to be kind of moronic and assholish in their regular lives too. They kind of tend to be just children, right? Maybe they book them a month out. Maybe they book their tickets a month out or a week out, and maybe they're available only because when the big groups stop coming in and they actually stop going to the things, maybe it opens seats all the way up until then.
Maybe they're just warming up for the darts that starts next week. But yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I don't. Again, this is all starting from like I'm still planning on going to the Mosconi Cup next year, and I still love the event, but I'd be lying if I said I'm having more fun now than when I had an entire group of people that were going and we were all having a good time. And it's last 2 years ago, it was not safe for our group. With the group that we had behind us, it was not safe. There was a bunch of drunken idiots that were trying to get rises out of us because they found out we were American. They were trying to mess with us. They were trying to piss us off. They were trying to get us to the point where we would have to do something. And
but that was only one day. There was another day where we had a group in front of us as well that wanted to fight with us. It was like, where's this going? All around, everywhere, there's just groups of guys that are just waiting for one thing to happen so they can You know, I said something like somebody shouted something while somebody was in a shot. And I think I either turned to you or I turned to Cookie, probably to you, and it says, they shouldn't be shouting that when he's on a shot. And the guy in front turned around and says, you shut your fucking mouth. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I wasn't even talking to you. And then it was just like, right, we want to fight now. So, and we're like, well, this is stupid. And they're doing it. They're doing it all the time, and it's happening. Sorry to say, it's happening at Ali Pali. And people can talk about like the US crowd being loud at in Orlando last year when players were playing shots. That's different. You know, if that becomes the norm, that people are going to go woo whenever anyone's on an
that
angle,
doesn't bother me as much.
I don't care. I don't think I don't like it. I don't think it should. But if that's going to be the case, fine. But that's not what the problem is. The problem is the atmosphere within the crowd. And if it continues to go the way it is right now, or the way it's started to go, all it takes is for two groups of guys, the wrong two groups of guys, to be put beside each other in that arena, and there's going to be a fight in the arena.
I can't believe
that's
there
going to
hasn't
be the
been
next
any.
step. And then what happens to the Mosconi Cup? Then what happens to the Mosconi Cup if two groups of guys decide to go at each other? And that's what's going to happen. That's where it's going.
I just want the ability to actually be able to get, seats together. And again, I mean, you just can't tell me that there's no possible way that that's available.
I mean, you could probably just raise the minimum. You could, or raise the maximum on group instead of 6, do like 12 or 15.
No, because the ordering process that they have right now, it's not feasible. You're going in there, you're all doing a mad scramble at it, and like that's fine, but you can't. If it's possible, if you can get season tickets, the fact that you can't get season tickets anymore, and I don't know, maybe the answer is, there was G. How many different segments were there? Like they went up to G or L or K or something like that. Maybe you open up some of them to season tickets and you open some of them up to day by day. I don't know, but there's no chance to get an entire group of 25 tickets together the way that they do it right now. You just
do it like the Savannah Bananas groups do it, like where you have to like sign up for the lottery and tell them how many tickets you want to buy, and then they'll put you into a thing. And
maybe I mean,
maybe what they do at football, with soccer, sorry, when you have a membership of a club, you get a point system.
Yeah,
maybe they should start giving point systems to people. If you go to a home Mosconi Cup, you get 10 points. If you go to a away Mosconi Cup, you get 20 points. And then you have an account with the amount of points on it, and that gives you priority on what tickets you want.
I think Nate should just get media coverage passes. How about that? Let's just solve the issue there.
No, because
anyway, it's changed. It has changed. I still enjoyed it, but it's changed. It's not Mosconi like Mosconi was 15, 16, 17. As fans that were going every year, we had our group, and we kind of felt it was our responsibility to make the American fans feel welcome when they came over, because you want to be made feel welcome when you go over there as well. You know, you don't want to be left out of everything. You know, so it was all about trying to get the groups of fans together and make it one big Mosconi Cup family. Now it just seems about trying to make people cry, you know, or just abuse people, or just be heard on TV, or just whatever, shout about somebody's girlfriend, about their wife, about their ex-girlfriend. 3-night combo.
I think people are just treating it very politically too, though. Like, they see how we are in America with our politics, and now it's starting to transcend into sports. And instead of taking personal responsibility on how you should carry yourself, you're just saying, well, if they can act that way, so can we. And you try to one up how they're behaving, and it just, snowballs from there, instead of just acting like a reasonable adult.
That was one thing that I wanted to say. I mean, I've seen since the end of Mosconi Cup, I've seen quite a lot of things on Facebook from American fans saying, well, wait until you get over to Orlando. What I would love to see from the American fans is instead of saying we're going to make it worse for Team Europe, make it better.
Absolutely.
Don't shout more stupid stuff than what the Europeans done. Don't try and outdo them on being assholes.
Chance or whatever, yeah.
It's not a good thing to be even more of an asshole than they were.
Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out.
Don't make it worse. Make it better. Do yourselves a favor and show the European fans how it should be, instead of trying to.
Hear me out, Jim. So the U.S. it starts at noon or something like that. Anyways, it starts pretty early in the
It's
morning.
different. Yeah, there's
Maybe
less
it's 3 o'clock.
alcohol in your system already.
Yeah. But most people, like, especially if that's the case, you have to be in there the night before, right? What's stopping Matchroom from creating a little event as a welcome party that gets the U.S. fans and the European fans in the same room? You only hate people you've never met, and generally speaking, the European fans that I've met are some of the best human beings I've met in my life. Some of the Americans, they're good people. If you get, I think that if you get actually everybody together and just like get a nice little little meet and greet and just, maybe just run a little pool tournament or something on the side, just having some fun with it. I think it'd be a lot easier to get past the idea that we're just going to look at everybody as an enemy.
Yeah, but
that'd be fun.
That works with people who are actually interested in the Mosconi Cup and are actually legitimately interested in the game. These groups that have been in the Ali Pad the last 2 times, they don't give a shit about meeting up with people and getting to know Nate the American or getting to know Brad the American or whoever. They're just interested in that 4 hours that they're going to be in there getting as pissed as they possibly can and causing trouble. That's all they're interested in. They don't care about meeting people and meeting new friends. They wouldn't turn up for a meet and greet anyway. They don't give a crap. They're just there to try and cause trouble and be heard on TV and entertain their friends by calling somebody. I'm not even going to use the words that were getting used.
Yeah. So do you think it's more realistic to expect us just to handle ourselves better, or do you think that Matchroom needs to implement some sort of certain measures to hold people accountable to?
Well, there's only 2 parties that can be responsible for the behavior, for controlling the behavior. Either the fans do it themselves or Matchroom do it. Matchroom. There has to be a line. There has to be a clear line between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. And if you cross over to the unacceptable, it has to be dealt with immediately. And I mean, I said to Nate a couple of times, I said, what they need to do is grab one of these groups and drag them in front of everybody through the arena so that everybody sees that you're going to get chucked out, instead of hiding it and just saying, we better leave, come you. I don't know how many people. I only saw one group getting removed or one person getting removed. And the amount of people in there that were being complete dicks that weren't interested in being there at all.
It's the louder and louder and louder the crowd gets, I think
easier is to hide.
It's easy to kick people out 2 years ago because it was actually, there was still like a level of semblance to the room that was like, now it's everything that's screamed is just drowned out by everybody else that's screaming. Mm-hmm. You can't pick out those bad actors as easily if everybody's screaming.
And I can imagine that if you're Matchroom and you're sitting, at the production thing, you're hearing it all as one big noise. Whereas if you're actually sitting in the crowd, you hear exactly what's getting shouted and what's getting screamed. And you hear how aggressive and how hostile it is. And it's vile, some of the stuff,
Yeah, some of it's pretty rough.
Well, and so last year was my first Mosconi, and I would say, like, one of my pieces of feedback to that would be the security is all third party. So they don't know what the hell they're doing to begin with. Like, their job is strictly to keep people from going down to the arena, and they're not crowd controlling people yelling or anything. So I think it also starts with like, well, Matchroom needs to work with the third party security and be like, this is kind of the expectation we need from you to help manage this crowd.
Well, you have to draw a line what's acceptable and not acceptable.
I don't think we know what's being told to them.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, obviously, they aren't being told the right stuff, though.
I'm sure Emily and the rest of Matchroom does not want people yelling curse words at the families. I'm not convinced that they care that much about Tyler missing a 9-ball because the crowd is being too loud. I don't know that that's a bad thing. And I know, Jim, that you made a post about this, but like ultimately, like that is a decision that's being made, right?
Correct. If that's the decision they want to go with, if they say that if they say that's okay because it happens at the darts, okay, then do it. But what you're doing, what you don't realize is, certainly in the UK, when you've got these guys that are just heavily on the drink, they want to go a step further than is allowed. They always want to go a step further, and if you don't draw a line somewhere, then that turns into wanker, fuck your wife. It doesn't stay. It will never stay as it will get worse and worse and worse. So where's the line? You have to draw a line with something. You want to make noise, fine, but what kind of noise? You know, is it affecting the other people that are in the stands? Is it affecting the viewing pleasure of other people? You know, is it affecting how safe families feel when they're sitting there? And like I said, you don't hear it unless you're in there. So maybe it's a case of they have to put more security within the fans up the stairs or halfway up the stairs so they can hear these kind of things, you know? Because that's where it goes to. It will always continue to deteriorate as the evening goes on, or else, you know, and I don't know.
I don't look
it's
at
obviously silence or no
issue.
silence is the easiest thing to control. Silence or no silence is the easiest thing to control. If you go for noise, it starts getting a bit, you know, and it's,
it can.
You know, the darts is different. You know, the darts is different. You go to the darts, maybe you're a fan of one of the players, but there's going to be 10 players playing that night. So you're kind of invested properly and emotionally in one match. So when the darts is going on, there's a lot of people that aren't watching, they're not interested. So they're not shouting, they're not doing anything. You've got others who are. Whereas in Mosconi, it's a team event, and every single ball, everybody has something to say about it. Everybody's invested in it. So there's always one guy that's going to shout something, and then the whole place then thinks, now I can shout something. There's no rest. There's no moment where people are just saying, I'll miss this match, I'll just go and do something else. So it's full on all the time. And it's a team kind of gang atmosphere rather than just
like
people.
hooligans.
Yeah, it is. And it's not a darts atmosphere, it's a football match atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, so good question here. I don't think the players play that big of a part in how the crowd reacts but I think they choose not to. I think that if Jason Shaw said, hey, let's have a positive atmosphere here. We're here for the Mosconi Cup. This is about pool and two countries coming together to play a competitive match. I think that would have more influence on how the crowd participates. But the fact that the players are choosing not to hold the crowd accountable or not, have a voice in that says a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I got to give respect to Tyler when he came out in his interview and said it didn't affect him. That's not the reason he missed the 9-ball. But what he said is that's Mosconi. And Emily said in one of her interviews, that's Mosconi. Well, I'm telling both of you, it might be Mosconi now, but it might be what it's become, but that is not Mosconi.
Historically, it's not,
It's not. It's become that because it's being allowed to become that. It's changed.
Some of the early, I
for one don't believe it's a positive change. I for one don't believe it's a positive change. I believe it's become too hostile in there. It's not nice to hear the things that are getting said. Okay, 7 of the players that were out there are friends of mine. So yeah, okay, I don't like them getting stuff like that, abuse shouted at them. I'm good friends with the particular wife who was getting abused, like horribly abused. So I don't like to see that either. That upsets me more than it maybe would somebody else as well. But it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Because we've gone past, in my opinion, the last 2 years at Ali Pali have gone past what an acceptable line should be.
Well, I think when it becomes personally, I don't think that we should be. I don't think we should be taking shots at individual players and players' families and stuff like that. You want to?
Oh yeah. Can I ask her? Do you know about the Shaw thing? What happened?
Yeah.
Everybody's been asking about that. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But
two people that don't like each other went at each other. I mean, it's this whole thing like Jason's about ready to jump in the crowd and start fighting somebody. Come on. I mean, they don't like each other. Some things were said. It doesn't. I don't think either one of them handled it well, but it's just two players that don't like each other.
I mean, this is something that I would like Jason to come out and address it. Actually, I can tell you that it's not a random person in the crowd.
Okay,
it's somebody that
Jason. Was it somebody just heckling, or was it somebody?
No, it's not a random person in the crowd. It's somebody that Jason knows very well. It's a
very prominent person in the industry. A very prominent person in the industry
who's been causing Jason problems for several years now, getting him banned from certain events, not allowed into certain events, has been provoking Jason through Jason's wife, and was provoking before the start of the tournament, and then turned up and started giving it this, and giving it this to Jason every time he was standing up to go to the table, and basically trying to get the reaction that he got from Jason.
And that's somebody that you think should hold a better standard to set an example.
Well, this is a guy who's in the crowd. Nobody sees him on TV, and he got the reaction that Jason should not react like that. He should absolutely not. I'm not condoning how he reacted. He should not have reacted like that. And he will get some flack for the way he reacted. It was unprofessional, and I'm sure he regrets doing it. But this was not just some random idiot in the crowd. This is somebody who has been causing him and his family grief for a long, long time, and has chosen to go to Mosconi Cup and try and get in his face at the Mosconi Cup. I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm not condoning how Jason reacted, but yeah, if you know the full story, there's no excuse for it, but it puts a different light on.
We have some pretty long podcasts. Sometimes, but we would need about the longest.
We would need more than the hour and a half for that one.
Yeah, we would need it.
But hopefully this is something that Jason. I'd like to see him go public with it. But people are reacting to this like Jason's some sort of asshat and horrible person.
Same people are say that think he was before, and they think he's going to be afterwards. It doesn't.
Exactly,
Jason,
and they're saying he's bad for the industry. He's bad for the sport. Well, I tell you what,
nobody who knows Jason thinks that. Nobody who knows Jason thinks that.
Jason spends time with the kids that are interested in pool. He'll stand there for hours. I've never seen him refuse a selfie or refuse an autograph. He does everything with the fans. Once you get to
never half-asses it either.
No, he never half-asses it.
He gives everybody a full attention.
Yeah, if you see him at the bar afterwards, he'll sit with you. He'll talk about whatever you want. He will give you all the time that you need. He loves his fans. He loves, the support that he gets. He gets a bad rap from a lot of people because he's got that arrogant persona around the table, and sometimes he reacts. He wears his heart on his sleeves. He's outspoken. If you only see him at Mosconi and only see that kind of thing, then you've got the wrong idea of who this guy is. Well, as simple
Jim,
as that.
I'll tell the story of the first time I met him, because I told this story on the podcast, but it sums up perfectly who Jason Shaw is. The first time I ever met Jason Shaw, I'd spoken to him maybe once or twice about coming onto the podcast, but our schedules didn't work out. I happened to be in his area of his pool hall, and I basically reached out to him like, "Hey, I'm going to swing by and just check your pool hall out. I'm not asking you to show up or anything like that." But he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'll try to be there about 5, and I'll say hi and whatever." I show up, and he's not able to be there until 7:55 or something like that. Well, this was during COVID, and the local regulations mean he had to shut down at 8 p.m. He comes in. And he walks straight up to me and says, "Hey, what's going on? It's good to see you. It's good to meet you. When the bartender comes around, just tell them that you're all right staying." Kicks everybody out of the bar, keeps me there, and allows me so that I could have some time to just chat with him and just hang out. And I never asked for it. He just wanted to make sure that I was coming to his pool room, that I would feel special about it. Well, we end up sitting there just chatting until about midnight. And turns out Ara is wanting to leave the entire time because they had already blown through their dinner reservations because it was Jason Shaw's birthday. So wow. instead of going to his dinner reservations, he wanted to make sure that myself and my friend that I had brought with me felt special coming to his pool room and got the time that we had with him till we'd be able to hang out. And he blew through all of his reservations on his own birthday. That is the type of person that Jason Shaw is when it comes to his fans and just anybody that you wants to hang out with them and have a chat or anything like that. He would literally do just about anything for somebody that wants to have a signature, a picture, just a chat, whatever. The dude cares a ton about the people in the pool world. He just is a ham and likes to play up the Mosconi Cup. He makes the event exciting. I'm telling you.
And if you get on his wrong side, then he's going to let you know that I mean, he's still a Glasgow boy after all.
Yeah,
he's still got that fire inside him. You want to piss him off. You want to talk crap about him on social media. He's going to answer to you because he can't not. It's just in his nature. I remember UK Open a couple of years. He's playing Ara's in.
Sorry,
I'm glad we're saying good things about him. Ara's listening.
Yeah.
She scares me more than Jason does.
Yeah, no shit.
He's playing UK Open. He's playing, I think, Alexa Pujel. And I think it's in the last 16 or something like that. And it's gone the year before, Alexa had played Filler, I think, in the semi-final. And he'd gone hill with Filler, and then he dogged the 8-ball. Now he's playing Jason the next year, or maybe it was the next event, and he's playing Jason, and it's hill, and he's in, and he's got an open table, and it's just pissy table, dogs it again against Jason. So the guy's in bits. He's heartbroken. You know, Jason leaves the table, he goes out, and he sees him in the foyer outside, and he sees the kid's in absolute bits, you know? And Jason just goes over and puts an arm around him and says, come, we're going to get something to eat, I'll buy you dinner. And took him, bought him dinner, tried to cheer him up a little bit, gave him some tips, you know, told him how great he was and what a great future he's got, and he should just keep going, don't worry about it, you're going to have these bad moments. How many players do you know would bother doing that? You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world, the pool world. Everyone's like that, more for me, less for you. But, you know, anyone that says Jason's not good for the pool world just doesn't know. Does it just...
No idea who he is.
Absolutely.
Michael Gaines, no idea what you're talking about. We're not mentioning names here.
Nate, are we gonna do a sponsor ad?
Hell yes. Yeah!
I want to see some more Jacoby custom cues.
Yeah, it might be a good opportunity.
What do you want? Do you want heritage? You want yin and yang, or do you want blackout, Jimbo?
I like the yin and yang.
Yin and yang it is. We love
They're
Jacoby.
pretty.
They're very pretty. And Jacoby is one like just I bought what I bought $16,000 worth of Jacoby custom cues today. So
Jesus Christ!
I believe in Jacoby custom cues, or I would not be putting my money into it. It's like 4 cues. 22 pool cues I bought from Jacoby today.
And you got them for 16 grand.
Well, some of them were break cues.
Oh, okay.
A couple break cues, a couple shooting cues, you know. I believe in Jacoby custom cues. They're a sponsor to this podcast, but I back it up with my own investments. So
apparently their new shafts are very good.
Very nice. Yeah, the 4.0 shafts are very nice. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I just sold that monstrous. I just sold that monstrous that I got from you.
The Monster Crush.
Yeah, they love it so far. So
that pink one.
Yep.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Appreciate you.
Yeah, those are nice cues.
Where's my free cues?
You too could be a sub dealer.
Okay, you're nothing without me, Mindham. Where's my free shit? Go on.
I don't get it for free.
Stop paying for all the lady viewers.
Jim, you tuning in
to see me.
Jim, you do understand that at the end of that weekend, I bought you 37 drinks and you only bought me 31 drinks. So I think you got 6 free drinks.
Yeah, but those 6 were tequilas. They don't count.
I made that number up. I don't know.
37 drinks at probably $9 a drink. That's basically like 2 free cues.
No, it's British pounds. It's not even real currency. I don't even know. I don't want to look at my credit cards. But if you guys like Jacoby or you want to get yourself some Jacoby cues, right here's your guy. And if you're in Illinois, I'm still your guy. Don't go to him.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I guess thank you again to Jacoby Custom Cues, big time sponsor of the podcast, as well as Billiards Digest, Salado, Horo Tips, and Littman Lights. So thanks to our sponsors. They allow us to continue doing this. And thank you to all the people who are tuning in. Also, if you want to help out in small ways just for free, give the thing a like, give the thing a share. It's the easiest way to help us out.
Oh, yeah. On that note, though, don't forget at some point we need to talk about the 20,000 followers. I know that we've got a Justin Bergman signed jersey. So I think we had been discussing, like, once we hit 20,000, we'll do something really cool for the
Jim,
people.
What should we give away for when we reach 20,000 followers? What are we going to do, Jim?
I'll do the next podcast topless.
Oh, we're never going to get any.
Well, we just got 2,000 more lady followers.
There you go.
Everyone from Thailand.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. And we'll get.
I guess
maybe we'll get that posted.
The viewers are watching. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want autograph stuff? Like, are you wanting merch?
Yeah, you want free equipment. You want merch. You want signed Mosconi Cup gear.
Nate's got it all.
You want Jim's titties? What do you want?
Yeah, I've got a load of Mosconi Cup gear.
Yeah,
you're not getting any of my shirts off my wall, but I've got spares.
I got spares.
I do. I've got a load down here.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Do we know when?
I got a couple of them myself. Ooh, that's an old school one.
That's an old school one, yeah.
I think I got an old school one around here too. When do we anticipate the next round of tickets are going on sale? Have they announced that yet, or is it usually the same time every year?
Usually in like March, late February to like March.
Yeah.
Right around tax season.
Yeah.
But I've already booked my hotel.
Are you staying at Caribbean, assuming?
How much was it?
For Reba? Ridiculous.
800, something like that, for 5 nights.
5 nights. That's not bad.
Plus, you got to pay like the parking fees, which are like.
Well, I don't. I'm not driving there.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I want to say I had to pay like $100 a night or something like that for parking.
$100 a night to park the car there.
Yeah, something stupid. Well, no, like, so each time that you left, you had to pay it again. So if you just left your car there, you didn't have to pay for another time. So it's like a re-entry type thing.
How much do you hate your wallet to where you wouldn't just catch an Uber? You'd be saving $80 every time you jumped in an Uber.
Yeah, no, I should have. It was ridiculous.
Is this why you brought him on, Jim, so that you wouldn't be the dumbest guy anymore?
I might be thinking of the deposit. It might have been a $500 deposit for the parking, and then it was like $100 at the end of it for parking. So I would have gotten the $400 back.
It's your story. Tell it however you want.
But then they charge you for every little thing while you're there, and it just, by the end of it, you don't get your deposit back just because everything just gets added on.
But it's Mosconi. It's going to cost money.
Yeah, no, I'm just poor.
I'm so worried. I'm still working on paying off Mosconi Cup from 4 years ago.
Yeah,
tough action. Okay, going forward.
You're buying 40 tickets at a time.
Yeah, well, if I could have. I would if I could. I would if I could. They won't let me anymore. It's no fun. I guess Fallout. What do you think, Jim? Do you think that this is? Do you think it's just another Mosconi Cup of the U.S. not being able to compete?
Well, that's exactly what it was. It's another Mosconi Cup that the US were unable to compete. I mean, that's exactly what it was. There's difference in levels. You know, one team's got a Filler and a Shaw, and the other team's got guys that are not performing, either not performing to the ability they have, or they just don't quite have that ability to compete with, you know, to over a 4-day period to continually compete with those guys, you know.
But what you're saying basically is that you, like, when you say it like that, it sounds like you don't think that preparing for the event would make it so that USA is a favored matchup, or favored in the matchup. You think that Europe is just flat out better.
Well, Europe is flat out better.
But
I mean, myself and Nate and you as well, we've beaten players that we can openly say are better players than us.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially in tour race.
It's about performing at the time.
I beat Jim once.
Anyway, it's about performing to your best ability at that moment in time. The thing that USA has, if they don't perform at their best ability, then they need Europe to play badly. If Europe don't play badly, then they're not going to beat them. And that's the same for me. If I play against a guy who's better than me, I need to play the best I can play at that moment in time. And I need the guy above me not to play his best. Because if we both play our best, he wins. But it doesn't mean that you can't beat that person. Now, 11-3 is that USA lose to Europe. That surprises nobody. Right. It can't continue to be 11-3. The gap is not 8 points between those two teams. There is a gap, but it's not 8 points.
It's 11-7 probably.
So when you go next year, is your hope that you're like, well, hopefully we can get 11-7 at least?
Well, no, I mean, my hope is always every year is that it's going to be competitive. I still want my team to win, but I want it to be competitive. I want my hands to be sweating on day 4. That's what I'm there for. I want it to be.
Yeah, I want to see 7-7 going into day 4.
Yeah, I want to feel that emotion. That I want to celebrate. I want to be jumping up when Jason makes a 9-ball or Filler makes a 9-ball. Like, boom! Yeah, we needed that. Come on! Instead of, oh, there's another one.
What you definitely don't want to have is, well, even if he makes this match-winning 9-ball, I guess we're still going to have 7 more swings at it.
Yeah, and I want it for the American fans as well. You know, I want them to be involved. It's a better atmosphere if they, you know, I want them to get excited, for them to be involved in that. I want them to have a reason to travel to Europe, to the European side, you know, to support their team. You know, I want, you know, it's getting to a stage now where it's 1 year it's 99% Americans, the next year it's 99% Europeans. You know, yeah. I mean, Johan will make a difference. These guys, they can win, but not like this. Not underperforming. Underperforming is never going to do it against that European team.
Yep.
Never. Agreed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which 5 it is. You cannot go there and underperform. You will lose. You know.
Agreed. Well, I don't. That's pretty much all I got. Anything else you guys want to highlight?
Who would you right now? Who would you pick for USA next year?
I'd be hoping to find a way to get. Oh, I guess I can't say this because Shane actually played well this year.
Well, I think. I mean, I don't know. Somebody, yeah.
Sky Fedor and Shane can't go anywhere because they won't go anywhere because there's. I mean, if they do, even if one of them doesn't qualify, which is hard to imagine, but it did happen this year, I guess, with Tyler qualifying. You still got to have those 3 and then go from there. I mean, did Tyler play his way off the team this year? I mean, there's a lot of stuff on Facebook that is like, congratulations, Tyler. This is your final year on the team. But Tyler's the only person that plays every event.
He still has like the best win percentage too, I think.
Yeah, coming into the event, and I thought it was Billy, but yeah, I got. Thanks, Frank. He fact corrected me. I think Tyler was 48% coming in, and I think Billy was 45% coming in. But that's what you get with Billy. Billy is always going to be a notch under 500. So if you could get enough out of the rest of your team, like, and every successful team has to have that type of player that is just hovering, you know, a game or below 500. Like if you could have 5 Joshua Fillers, of course you would end up taking that. But what ends up happening is even if you have like 5 Joshua Fillers, you still end up getting to the point where like some of them aren't going to play their best. So if you could get 50% out of them, if at the end of the day, if you have 5 players and 3 of them are playing well, one of them is playing okay, and one of them is absolutely dog in the bed, you're going to win comfortably. What you don't want to have is have 2 players playing all right, 2 players playing and then 1 player playing like really bad. Right. That just means it's going to come down to the end, and all that pressure just builds and builds and builds.
I think it's what I would really like to see is I would like to see somebody have a career-defining year this year from America. You know, somebody that will break through like a Mickey Krause did or whatever. You know, I want to see somebody. I'd love to see a new name decide I'm going for this and to really to make waves and to break through properly into the
Do you think that could be
international
a rookie? Do you think that could be a Sam Henderson?
Well,
Or do you think
preferably a rookie because three of the places are taken, so you would want a rookie really to do it.
Do you
Tyler's the only person in position to be able to do that. He's the only person with enough talent to be able to get there, and is starting from a position that's high enough that he actually could get there.
So you think that Sam's probably still 2-3 years out then?
That comes down to Sam. It comes down to
Well,
Sam and what Sam wants to do.
It could be a career-defining year for him. I want to see I want to see Shane Walford back on the table. He had his one Mosconi Cup and then disappeared. I want to see. I want to see. I mean, you've got three guys in there that are taking the spots. So you've got two spots that are up for grabs. I'll tell you now, if Johan is a captain, then you've got.
And I'm arguing that there's one because I don't think there's no way Tyler doesn't make the team because he's the only person.
Especially if Johan is a coach. So you've got one spot. I'd like to see 5 guys fighting for that spot. 5 or 6 guys really fighting for that spot.
Legitimately, not just like half.
Yeah, not half-assed. Really fighting for that spot. And then we'll see who comes out in the end. But I do believe that if you ran this back with the same 2 teams, but with Johan in charge of the American team, I still don't think they'd win, but they'd have a hell of a lot more than 3 points.
Well, it depends who you put up on Team Europe's. I think of this team here. They brought the same team back. I completely disagree with you. I think that this team, there's absolutely nothing that was applied to this team that would even give you a semblance of how they would play under pressure. Not a single point at any time in this Mosconi Cup did you actually have them playing serious pool. Team Europe, that is. Not once did they ever have a single iota of pressure applied to them.
Well, I don't know. Al-Kaidi made a bit of a magical 9-ball when he got given the opportunity, and Filler was running out racks that you should not be running out, and they were. Listen, Europe were
the best 9-ball made by any of them. The best 9-ball that was made was Pius.
Europe were in danger of losing. Listen, after day 1, Europe wasn't in danger of losing. But in day 1, they went out and they gave everything to that day. They got their 4-0. And after that, it was, we're going to try and beat you as badly as we possibly can. They had their foot on the gas the whole time, Europe.
That's my point. But you can have your foot on the gas the entire time. If somebody's putting it on you against it, the best matchups that you ever see are the ones that go hill where they're back and forth the entire time. Mm-hmm. The US started to jump out nicely, missed a 9-ball by Billy, and then they never even remotely gave a fight since then. I mean, obviously, literally they were fighting, but I mean, they never applied any pressure to Europe. And now, don't get me wrong.
No, they did. But as soon as they applied any pressure, they missed 9s. And took the pressure off.
You can't say then that they're applying pressure until they stopped applying pressure. It's not real pressure unless you get 4 or 5 points on the board and you're actually within striking range.
On this, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think they'd win the match, but it wouldn't be 3. They'd have a lot more than 3 points.
Sure, Jim. Well, let's look at our you and I playing marbles at the end of it. I was starting to get to the point by the end of it where I was actually kind of figuring the game out. You and I were kind of having a nice little banter and we were having nice little fun. And I was probably getting to the point where I was winning 2 out of 6 games against you, something like that. But you were never worried about it, were you? If I put 2 in a row on you, you were never really worried about anything, were you?
Well, no, I was pretty drunk as well.
Well, yeah, it kind of was too, wasn't it? But you can't say that they applied pressure if every time that they got close to doing some actual damage,
what I said was that team put those 2 teams out again with Johan as the coach, and USA get more than 3 points.
I think if you put the team out without him, they still get more than 3 points.
No, they could well do, but they didn't.
That's my exact point, though, Jim. Is I honestly think that if you put the same team out with Johan, I don't think that we see the rookies doing what they're doing, because I think that there's going to be enough pressure applied at that point in time that we actually will get to see what Team Europe can do with this team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that this team is a favorite to beat US with Johan on it.
Okay. Well, we won't know because it won't be the same European team next year.
Won't be the same. It won't be the same American team either. I don't think that there's any chance Billy makes another Mosconi Cup team, to be honest with you.
Well, you don't know. Maybe he has a great year.
It's possible. I mean, no, don't get. But no, I don't think it's possible. I don't.
Okay.
I think that Billy could. I think that Billy could make a semifinals, but I don't think with Billy's mechanics on those tight of tables that is conducive to his game. I don't think that Billy has the mechanics in his game to be able to play very, very, very high level pool enough to where he could have a breakout season. Not unless he actually went down and actually started working on his mechanics and tightening things up.
Maybe he's one of the guys that turns around and says, "Oh, Johan's been put in. I'll go to Johan."
I think it would make a difference. But Billy as he is right now, his mechanics are not very good. I mean, he's an incredible player. Don't get me wrong, but like he has a lot of body movement, and when you
actually to be honest, to play at the standard he does play with those
incredible.
mechanics is quite incredible. Yeah.
Bergman
a little bit same way with Sky.
Sorry, I'm just answering the question there.
Oh, Jason's on. All right, Jay. Afraid she can't teach bottle. yeah, can't teach bottle. That's true. No.
Yeah, but I think yeah, I don't think that Billy has I don't think Billy has the chance to be able to get to that level. I think Tyler's probably the only player in the U.S. that has that ability to break through and actually have a good year, in a sense. Well, maybe, obviously, I mean, to be fair, I mean, if Fedor were to have what would Fedor have to do for you to say that he had like a career-defining year? I mean, he'd probably have to win 5 events.
He's already had his career-defining year.
Well, I'm saying at this point going forward, if Tyler won one event, or even made the quarter or the semifinals of let's say 2 or 3 events, I think that would be a career-defining year for him.
But yeah, well, you never know. Maybe two rookies wasn't enough for Team USA. Maybe we put 4 rookies in next year.
Maybe next year we can get like Victor Zielinski and maybe like Wojtek Szewczak, and maybe we can get like.
I'll play. See if you got a chance. There you go.
I think if they really wanted to make it competitive, I think they should make me the captain of Europe, and I would require 4 shots of tequila before running a mile before every day.
Well, if they're doing captains again, then I'm available to captain Team Europe.
Where do I send my resume?
But you're up against Johan, so you've got no chance. Who am I up against?
I said I'm going to be the captain of Europe. How about this, Jim? Since I'm Batman, I'll be the captain. You can be my vice captain.
You're right. You're only Batman on this podcast.
All right, fair play. All right, anything we have anybody from the comments want to throw a question at us?
Somebody was asking about Bergman. We always get that question.
I mean, when Bergman starts leaving his 10 miles from his house, maybe we'll talk about him. Until then, I'm making this a Bergman-free zone.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you hate the conversations about Bergman, don't you?
I fucking hate him. I can't stand him. Like, I cannot absolutely.
Bergman's a great player.
Well,
I do.
And so here, let me go on this rant.
Nate's on tilt.
Here we go.
Jim got me on tilt. So I'm going on this fucking rant now. The U.S. just cannot handle losing, right? And I get it. We have this American exceptionalism. We're the greatest country on earth. Nobody's even remotely close to us. And that's all fine and dandy. So we think that because we are so great at what we do, that we have to have somebody out there that's ready to come save us. Why aren't you going? Where did you guys go? You guys just leaving? You both just leave, huh?
I had to get my whiskey.
Oh, you had to go grab your Jim Beam. All right. We think that we can't possibly lose anything, right? So there has to be some combination of players out there, some white hope that's going to come in and jump and is going to make us the greatest team in the history of forever. And sometimes maybe the answer is we're just not very good and there is nobody that's going to come and save us. The idea that we always talk about this Bergman and like, even if we do get Bergman, we're getting the 2017, 2018 version of it. Don't come to me saying he's making all this money in ultimate pool playing on 7-foot tables with giant pockets. Like, you can't. It is so incredibly disrespectful watching some of the shots that Joshua Filler is out there shooting in this Mosconi Cup and say, yeah, that's Justin Bergman too. We got to get him to these events so he can qualify. It is so incredibly like disrespectful to the players that are out there on these tight tables with these slidey conditions, saying that he could do this when you haven't seen him do it for 7 years. We haven't seen him do a single thing in 6 to 7 years that wasn't on a bar table or in some tiny back room of his pool hall playing against Joe Schmo for $50,000, where he's giving him 17 games on the wire to 14 and the wild one out. Like, that's the only Bergman that we see, and we just magically think that it's 2017 again, and he's going to play the greatest pool in the history of forever if he had a break. I'm done. That's it.
Was that
I'm
it?
over it. I'm over it.
All
yeah,
right.
that's it. Justin
If
Bergman
you-
was
I
an
don't
incredibly
disagree with
good
you.
player.
If USA wants to win him another Mosconi Cup, work harder, prepare better, and play better. That's the only thing you can do. Don't go looking for quick fixes, because
Don't go
there
looking.
there isn't any quick fixes.
If you're gonna go there, why stop there? Why don't we just go back to Johnny Archer? He played great in 2002. Why don't we get him? What about Nick Varner? He was incredible in the 90s. How about
Sure.
Mike Siegel? He was great in the 80s. Why don't we get these players? What's wrong with them? Why don't we bring them back on the team? At some point in time, you got to stop saying, let's get this player, when it's been 8 years and you haven't seen him do a damn thing because he's not willing to travel.
So
Now,
to your point, Nate, I think that any of us who actually was interested in participating in the Mosconi has just as much of a chance to be on that team as Justin Bergman does, if not more, because we would commit to the process of working towards that. Bergman has legitimately no interest in pursuing that. Like, now, if Bergman said, hey, I want to play in it too, obviously, like, his skill level is light years ahead. But I mean, the first step is being interested to begin with.
the first step is somebody killing off Josh and Jason.
Apparently, we're all going to be dead next time the USA win.
We got Jason Shaw in the comments saying 100 years the U.S. will win once they're all dead. Jim said it perfectly. The way that U.S. wins: prepare better, practice better, train better, perform better. There is no player, there is no combination of U.S. players that is going to be on paper a favorite. Doesn't mean we can't win. Doesn't mean we can't win. But there is nobody out there that's going to make the U.S. automatically
favorites,
a 9-3 favorite against Europe. It just and to say that Justin Bergman is like this great player that's going to be, the difference maker is just drives me up a wall.
I want to see Sam Henderson personally. That's who I would like to see in a future.
Well, I think everybody would love to see Sam Henderson, but he's not ready.
I would love to listen, even if it costs him another couple of cups, bleed in a couple of other players and give them a feel for it. Give them the experience of being out there. Find out whether or not it's something they can do, whether it's something they want to do, they're comfortable doing, and then bring them through and get them in there. And hopefully in like 3 years' time, you've got like 3 other players in there. You've got a group of maybe 8 or 9 players who are fighting for those positions that are forcing everybody else to actually work hard and to perform. At the moment, there's 3 players at least on that team who don't have to do shit all year, and they're going to get in. And that does not, you have to be, that's one of the big differences Europe has. It's just qualifying is damn difficult. You've got to be playing well. You've got to have a good season to get in the European team, unless you're Jason, obviously. but you got to have a good team. You got to play well. You've got to be winning tournaments. You've got to be building up those points. If you look at the ranking list, none of the only Federer would have qualified for Team Europe.
But Jason actually was quite nailed on that. I never even thought about that. I did see all those posts that Team America was putting out there with all the signed balls and the signed t-shirts and whatever. And Team Europe was all training together 2 weeks prior, right?
Yeah.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean that the U.S. wasn't working behind the scenes when they're posting stuff, but. And another thing, I'm not going on this rant either, but like Jerry Rathman says, there's no money in pool and people are selling out for $100. That's because Americans make like absolute dog shit sponsored players. And I'm not saying like the top ends like Shane and the Skies, and although Sky is actually, I would actually put him into this category. Sorry, Sky, I love you, but he doesn't play enough events to warrant a lot of big high dollar events. Like if you're sitting at home all the time when a lot of players are making these runs around the country, you're not doing your sponsors any good. But Sky is still an incredibly great player to have signed. I'm not saying that. But all these other players that like you see these players that pop up for 2 or 3 years, maybe at the most, and then you never hear them again. Like, your Devin Petites and maybe even like a
Chris Robinson, Chris Reinhold,
Chris Reinhold, the Shane Wolfords, these types of players. Like, why as a company would you want to put your money behind a player like that when you don't even know if they're going to be there in a year? And this is a uniquely American problem, I feel like. Now, and I'm willing to be proved wrong on this by, Jim or anybody in Europe, but I just don't see the flakiness of the players from Europe as I do in the US. Why would you want to get behind and pay a player a salary to help them with their travel expenses if they're going to get the first check and next thing you know, you're not going to see them for a month? And they're not promoting your brand, even when they're not out on the tables. They're not making posts. They're not, pushing their products. They're not doing whatever they need to do. It's hard to justify as a company wanting to. And I get asked all the time if I want to sponsor players, and the first thing I ask is, "What are you going to do for me?" And they say, "Well, I'm going to put your logo on my sleeve.
I'm going to put your patch on my shirt."
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, what's that going to do for me? Well, it's going to get you brand awareness. Oh, that's great. So what do you want from me? Oh, I don't know, just a couple $1,000s a week. So you think your patch is going to, at some point in time, yes, marketing is marketing, but like, you're not trying to light money on fire. The point is you to have a proper relationship between you and your sponsor to where you're both benefiting, maybe not equally, but you're definitely both benefiting. And the US players, I just don't think have that same level of respect for their sponsors that I see from the European players. There's a reason why Ralph Souquet has had the same sponsors for 50 plus years.
Niels has been with Mosconi since 1850. Yeah.
Like there's these types of players that like they seem to understand a relationship balance between sponsors and non-sponsors way more than American players. American players are always looking at, what are you going to give me?
American players just want a free ride. I was having that conversation with your nephew Logan the other night, or when I visited you, where I was like, I just don't understand why people. I already have with Ever Forward with my business that I just started 3 months ago. I have people asking me to sponsor them. I'm like, dude, like I don't like. You're an APA 7. You're not gonna like drive my sales. I don't think. Like you just want free money to go to this tournament. I can't justify that.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
get better.
The flakiness,
it's your job. It's your job.
Of the Europeans, of the Americans, and part of that probably actually is like just geographical too. To be fair to the United States players, it is a lot harder to get from Texas to Michigan than it is to get from Germany to the United Kingdom. It just is, right? Mm-hmm. Our transportation is significantly more hectic. It's a lot more expensive. Generally speaking, you can get anywhere you want in Europe. Like if you start in Germany, you can literally probably get anywhere in Europe for 150 euros.
No, not anywhere, but it depends how you want to travel. If you want to take the train, yeah, probably, yeah.
Well, that's my point, right? You can literally probably get just about anywhere for 150 euros. You can't even get on a plane in the United States for $300. Unless you're going from like a special airport to a special airport that, they have like really cheap one ways, like a Las Vegas or something like that. But generally speaking, yeah, it is, to be fair to the United States players, it is a little bit more expensive probably to travel over here than it is. But I think our payouts are bigger than they are for like a Euro tour or something. And you guys don't have like weekly tournaments, right?
Yeah, but to Jason's point though, like if you know that even, being the fifth best player going into that as an underdog, you're not going to win. Like a lot of these players don't want to make that investment.
Yeah, but surely if you finish fifth, that means you've won more money.
Sure, but you might not get the sponsorship.
You're putting yourself in the conversation. You're giving somebody a reason to think about you as a pick. I mean, Jason's mentioned Torsten there. I mean, Jesus, if he is Asensio, if he Torsten, is it that difficult to finish above Torsten in a ranking? Is it that difficult to
at this point in his career?
At this point in his career, is it that difficult to prove that you're a better player than Torsten Homan? I mean, the legend that he is. I mean, he's not at that level anymore.
And he's not even playing a full schedule.
Exactly. I mean, come on.
Now, maybe he'll play a full schedule if he's got the opportunity at a $20,000 payday at the end of it.
Yeah. But yeah.
I just
we'll see. It's another Mosconi where USA got battered. We're at the same spot we were last year, probably even a deeper hole than we were last year.
I do.
The difference between the two.
I do think that the captain's picks has been uniquely unfair in the United States the last 4 to 5 years. But if you leave it up to a fan's or a captain's pick, then what do you expect?
Well, a lot of people are saying that the European picks have been unfair the last years. You know,
only based off of maybe money finishes, not based off of performances. Because you're kind of.
But that's it. But I mean, people. You know, there's a percentage of people that say that the wild card should be picked off of your performance over the year because that's how the ranking has worked, and there's others that say, well, it should be based on your performance in Mosconi Cups previously. Now, what most coaches do and what most people do, okay, the last 3 years has been the cap that's been playing captains the last 2 years. So then Jason and Sky pick themselves, obviously. You know, you're playing captain, so you're in. But a captain, a real captain trying to form a team, certainly a European team, is going to pick Jason anyway because he does it every year. Regardless of how he's played throughout the year, he turns up on that table and he performs. So why would you not pick him, you know? But people get caught up on, but there was 4 guys ranked above him and they deserve the place. No, 3 people deserve the place. The rest, you know, wow. You're all in the same.
4 for Europe. Because Jason hasn't qualified outright for.
Yeah, but every year there's 3 players who qualify.
I'm only saying Jason because he's the captain, right? He's obviously going to be playing.
And there's 2 picks, but what I'm saying is Jason would get the picks even if it was a different captain.
I don't think he would have.
People saying, "Oh, he's picked himself." Yeah, well, yeah. Anybody else would have picked him as well.
I don't think he would have this year. I don't think he would have gotten the pick. Not this
year.
You
don't think so? You don't think that Alex Lely would have picked Jason Shaw if he was the captain? I'm just taking the last captain that there was. You don't think if Alex Lely was a captain, you don't think he would have picked Jason Shaw, the MVP from the year before? Okay,
so hold on.
MVP from the year before that does it every single year on Mosconi Cup.
Was Josh the other qualifier? So it was Moritz, Pius, and was it Josh?
It was Jason and David were the 2 wildcard picks.
You could make a very serious argument that it could be like an Albin and an FSR, or a David and an FSR, or a David and Albin. Like, I would probably pick Jason, but I don't think that, like, if Alex Lely picked Albin, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, that was the worst decision in history.
How are you not picking the MVP from the year before, who always performs?
Okay, so hold on. You're right. In my brain, and I got it wrong. I was thinking that it was David. Moritz and Pius that were the qualifiers, and that Josh was, because there was the whole discussion as to whether or not Josh would play.
Filler and the 2 rookies were the qualifiers.
Yes. So yeah, you'd have to pick Jason. But if you had to waste 1 wild card on Josh, like, you could make an argument that you could take it. You wouldn't have to pick Jason with the second one. But yes, I think you'd still probably.
But you still would.
Probably, yeah.
So Jim, are you saying that if the MVP
part of that is me trying to hope that he wouldn't be on the team, you know?
are you saying if the MVP from the previous year doesn't qualify, then the wild card should probably default to them?
No, I'm saying if your MVP from the year before is somebody who's won it 7 times before and has 3 MVPs and performs every single year to the standard necessary, and is a leader in your team and gets everybody in your team together, yes, you pick that guy every single year.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Just
wanted to clarify. And I don't think that Jim, you and I had this conversation on day 1. I don't think it's even possible that you can make an argument at this point, maybe outside of like Johnny Archer.
Just wake up, mate.
that Jason isn't already the greatest Mosconi Cup player in history.
Well, he woke up. Statistics dictate that. He's now equal with Niels on 8 wins, and you've got Johnny Archer and Earl on 9 wins. So, assuming Jason plays the next 2 Mosconi Cups, which you would say is probably a very good chance he is going to, and if things continue the way they are, in 2 years' time, Jason will be the first one to reach 10, and then yes, in my book, he becomes probably the great. I was going to say he's had it pretty easy, but so did Johnny and Earl when they won their 9. So yes, he goes down probably as the greatest Mosconi Cup player. Yeah.
I think he's probably already there. I mean, as far as the way he's performed and how
he's won 8. He's played in 10. You've got guys like Shane that are up on 19. You've got 18s and 17s and stuff like that. So he's still got a way to go before he reaches the total of
Plus, he was captain for many years.
Yeah, the total of appearances. He's still got quite a way to go. It's going to be very difficult for him to get up to that kind of numbers when you consider the amount of talent that's in Europe. Every year it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and the more these top kids start coming through, eventually he's going to get pushed out of the team, or eventually he just says himself, I've had enough, I've done enough of it, kind of thing.
Is Jay 35?
Don't know, Jay, how old are you now? He probably feels about 40 after that last week, but
35, 36.
That's not old for a pool player. It's all dependent on how long he wants to go.
Absolutely not.
I think
David Al-Qaidi's 40.
I think the chances of a European player ever getting up to those
30.
I think the chances of a European player ever getting up to those big numbers
42.
of
41 or 42.
I think the chances of a European player ever getting up to those numbers of like the 15s and 16s is you start at 7. It's very difficult to do because there's just too many good players. Shane has got that number because he's a lock every single year until he's 80. The rest of the guys
doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, the rest of the guys. Mika got his big numbers. Ralph got his big numbers. A, because they were great players, but also B, there was less competition in the European team to get into the European team every year.
In the early
I don't see Jason getting up to those big numbers, but I think he's got an excellent chance of beating the winning record. He only needs 2 more wins, and then he's on his 10. I'm sure that's something that's in his head. He would like to take that record, but
and what I'm saying is I don't care whether or not he has it yet. I think he's already the greatest. Given the fact that he's 8 for 10, he's been a captain. He's performed about as good as he can perform. Like who's performed better?
But that's what I mean. Filler has performed better. He's just done it less times.
Well,
Filler was
never a captain.
Filler was out of shadow of doubt the best player out of the 10 players there this week.
Yeah.
But
this one, not recently.
And Filler's one of those guys. He could get some. He could break records at the Mosconi Cup, but again, it's also more difficult for him than it is for a Shane. I think it'll be in Jason's. It'll be in his head that 2 more MVPs and he breaks the MVP record. I think if Tyler had made that 9 ball against Moritz, then I think Jason would have got another MVP. That would have put him level with Niels on 4.
Yep.
So he's got 2 more MVPs to break Niels's record, 2 more Mosconi Cup wins. So technically, he only needs 2 more appearances, and he could break all the records. And I think he'll definitely get his 2 appearances.
I don't think he'll get the 2 MVPs. I don't think.
Filler will overtake me. He's the best I've seen and the best. Yeah, he is. Filler is, my opinion, rotation pool, the greatest of all time.
I'm not arguing he's going. Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not arguing that he is going to be. I'm not saying that he's not going to be the best. I'm just saying Jason Shaw, for my money, is the best Mosconi Cup player in history right now. I don't care that he doesn't have the records. Yeah. I don't care that he doesn't have the records. His winning percentage based off.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that records do matter when you're talking about that kind of thing. And I think he'll definitely get the 10, the MVP. We have to wait and see. He's kind of had the bonus of in a lot of the Mosconi Cups he's played. He's been given the extra match or the extra 2 matches with the fans picking stuff like that, which makes it a little bit easier to win an MVP. I think when Filler's in the team, if you saw it this year, Jason himself, it was going to be Filler that played the extra singles, which gives him an advantage for the MVP as well. So there's always a bit of a disparity with the MVP depending on who gets that extra singles. If everybody's playing well, But regardless, I got to certainly in recent time, in the last 20 years, he's certainly, I think he's probably been the most influential Mosconi Cup player for either team possibly since the start. Yeah.
So if so let's say Johnny Archer becomes our captain next year. If Johnny wins as the captain, do you give him a Mosconi Cup win for that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Otherwise, Johan will be up in 7 and with a chance of being the best ever Mosconi.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I don't know, other sports you do count it. That's the only reason why I asked.
I mean, you can add it to his resume, but I don't think it counts as I don't think he jumps to 10, in my opinion. It'd be nine plus one.
Like, what the heck is Shawn? Do you like the NBA?
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the head coach for the Warriors.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, Steve Kerr. So like he had a bunch of championships with the Bulls, and then obviously as a coach. Generally speaking, when you're looking at his resume, you give him credit for both of them. When you talk about total, Phil Jackson, you talk about like the total as a player and executive and as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see how involved they are game to game. I think that's part of it too. Like they play a very active role to the public.
Yeah,
night after night. So I think there's a little more.
They're the face of in football. They're the face of most teams outside. If your quarterback isn't like elite.
Yeah. I think if it were a season long type of thing as opposed to a 3-day or a 4-day event, whatever, the coaches for the Mosconi teams would get a little bit more credit than what they do now. It's hard to really compare.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Can we wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
I want to go to bed.
I want to go get a drink.
You've been drinking all through the show. You drink more than I do during these shows.
I'm the new.
You've taken over my spot as the alcoholic on the podcast.
That's right. This thing's empty.
The biggest change I did want to say, the biggest change that needs to happen to give US a chance again every single year, they need to change the pockets back to 4.5 for this event and this event only. I don't think it'll ever happen. But
I'll tell you what, it may make a big difference for a player like Billy.
If the pockets were 4.5, I think the pockets need to get changed back to 4.5 if you want it to be as competitive as it can be. And I'm sure
Listen, they've been playing it on every size of pocket for the last 20 years, and Europe have been pumping you for 20 years. So
no, they changed the pocket size in 2018 and we won. 2019 they were the same. We won. They made the pockets bigger for those.
And in 2010 they were 5 inches and Europe won.
That's a different game now. It is. Shut up, Jim. You know I'm right. You know good and damn well that if the pockets
you can make it. Make the table round, make it square, make it halfway playing uphill on it. You're going to get pumped every year because we're better.
I didn't say we were going to win. I said we were going to be more competitive.
There you go, James Lee, pumped.
I can't kick people out of it. I can't kick people out of the chat. I don't think I can only kick out Jim. So.
Pumped.
All right, let's wrap it up there. We'll thank everybody again. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for those who participated in the chat, except for Jason. Screw you. Thank you to the sponsors: Jacoby Custom Cues, Billiard Digest, Salado, Horo Tips, Littman Lights. Thank you to Shawn and Jimbo for joining me on the podcast here. Thanks, Jim, for all those one drink you bought me the entire Mosconi Cup event.
It took you that long to drink it.
Oh, Jesus. on day 4, it kind of did, didn't it? We were dragging on day 4 a little bit, weren't we, buddy?
I'm getting old, mate. This is, 4 days solid is getting too much for me.
We did well at the end, though, didn't we? By the end of that event, yeah. All right.
And I will be on the. It looks like I'm going to be on the Windows Open podcast on Friday night, trying to upset Molina Mike. If anybody wants to watch that and watch me give him shit.
Well, I won't be because I'm not cool enough to get invited.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to make him upset. So we'll give it a go.
Nobody ever invites me to stuff. I'm not as important as you are, Jim.
Well, that's what I keep saying.
Maybe you should invite him to this podcast. That way he'll invite you back to his.
I kind of have ish. He does great work, man. We do shit work over here. We just get on and banter and
Listen, it's all good fun. If there was any competitive nature between podcasts, then we wouldn't.
Jim wouldn't be going on.
It's all good content. All good content. Glad that it's even out there.
I've said it plenty of times on the podcast. Molina Mike is this. He's the one that takes shit seriously. He does great work.
He works hard.
He works hard. I do.
He didn't have to pay for that. We didn't have to pay for that plug. Check it out.
I don't care. I'll plug his stuff all day long. He's a champ at what he does. All right. With that being said, I'm out now. Let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.